Good afternoon. Welcome to another preview of a Horseman on the Open Gate Facebook and YouTube show. Remember the importance of wearing a mask, practice social distancing, sanitizing your hands, and of course, rehydrate yourself with pure water. Rehydration is very, very important, especially for those who are over 55 years of age. This afternoon, we have trainer Dale Murphy. Jamaica College has produced several prime ministers and top civil servants in Jamaica. We have Michael Bernard, president of the JC Old Boys Association. We had Philip Fiani, although he stayed there for about 6 weeks because JC wanted to win the swimming championship, beating Monroe. We have Charles Hussey, Percy Hussey, Michael Sergio, a trainer, Gary Griffiths.
Dalton Sergio.
Yes, Dalton Sergio, sorry. Gary Griffiths, Robert Pearson, Andrew Martin, Simon Croskill, myself, of course, and surely Dale Murphy. Dale, welcome to the Open Gate Show.
Thank you.
Was it at JC you started having an interest into the horse racing field?
Yeah, that was my introduction. I came here one Wednesday after school, and I guess the rest is history.
It's very interesting that to get bitten to go into the racing industry, most of our horsemen, from jockeys, from grooms to jockeys to trainers, they visit the racetrack once in the beginning, and then they want to get into it. And I was thinking that there should be some excursions organized by the promoting company, for students to come and see what involves the racing industry, because there's so many. It can be a career. We need personals to work in the office. We need grooms, jockeys, trainers, horsemen. So that would be a good idea. What's your take on that?
Well, I see some. What I call. I see some nice things. I see some nice things happening in terms of ownership. I must commend, and some of the younger trainers, I don't know if I should call names, but I could. Every week when they claim horses, I see some new names. I think some trainers are really doing some really, what we call underground work into getting new owners into the business. In particular, young trainers like Brian Darby and Richard and Stephen Todd in particular. I'm particularly impressed with what they are doing to attract new owners, because I'm quite certain that that a lot of their owners are really new owners, and therefore somebody is doing something to attract them.
Well, that is good. We still need much more though that can buy horses from the farm and buy horses from overseas bringing here.
I mean, that's the initiation. If that's the initiation stage of getting an owner into horse racing, at least somewhere to start at. I don't know if those persons have yearlings or younger horses, but if you notice these trainers in particular, I have personally seen that, and I want to commend them, because they must be doing something to attract owners. And if you don't have owners, you know what it is.
Well, that is so true. Well, let's get back to you.
Yes.
And what was it like in obtaining your license from the Jamaican Racing Commission training school up to the first race that you won?
I got my license in 2007. I would say I graduated in July. I won my first race the said year in about September. But that was called She's a Diamond. That also was owned by a present trainer called Newton Stewart. Briefly, I have won about 35 races since I'm here. which does more, but you have to work with what you have. Yeah, I have no regrets being a racehorse trainer. My some person think it's a extracurricular activities for me, but it's definitely not. It's a business, it's a sport. It's my second job. I mean, I have a day job, but if things were or could have gone different, the personal passion is with horse racing.
You had a horse by the name of Prescription, which is appropriately, well, it's appropriate what you do outside of racing.
Significant.
Tell us about those, well, that horse won several races. Tell us about that.
Prescription won approximately 8 races on the mic here. Obviously 8 is to win 8 races with one horse, it's tremendous. I would say that was the most prolific horse I had winning, but I had some other I call better quality horses which didn't make it far, I wish would have made it further. But such is racing. And at this stage I'm very, very much enthused, eager, and things don't look so bad right now in terms of the crop that I have here.
Horse racing, it's a unique career. You're up very early in the morning, getting into those fresh, good, natural air, and every day it's different, and
Yes.
it keeps you going because you have a plan, say, for a month, and if that fails, you still have another. So tell us about what keeps you going, like it's like a carrot at the end of a stick for a rabbit.
Personally, I call racing, or my career in racing, what we call a continuum. It's like you're between 0 and 10. And today I might be at 2.5, next week I'm at 8.5. And I'm just there. But we never really come out of racing, but we're always just swinging. And like I said, between numbers. Everybody knows we are in a pandemic now, so it's really difficult to operate, and things are not what they used to be, especially at the track right here now. Personally, I wish I had more horses. I've acquired a few, and very soon you're probably going to see me pushing out some youngsters.
The Open Gate Show has made a list of the most respected horsemen at Caymanas Park. I'm not talking about breeders, I'm talking about trainers. And the Open Gate Show list: Philip Fiani, Westford Smith, Cleveland Mitchell, Raymond Townsend, Marvin Campbell, Maurice Crooks, Randolph Scott, Bonnie Vincent, Victor Williams, Joe Thomas, Al Brown, Vincent Atkinson. Your name surely can be added to this list. I'm sure the majority of horsemen will agree with that list because these trainers are highly respected and trusted. You became the president of the original United Racehorse Trainers Association of Jamaica. Surely that's the presidency, to be president there. Under your leadership, what is your claim for the trainers that you represented then?
I like that question, I was anticipating it. I became president 2015 through 2017. And during that presidency, you all know that the track was under a different promoter. Track was owned by the government, who still owned the track, and the promoter was Timber Track Limited, who of course was owned by the government. You see, I went through 2 governments at that time. The then CEO Cedric Stewart, under the People's National Party, of course. So you know the track is owned by the government, therefore it's an appointed post as to who becomes CEO. So we're talking about the first 2 years was under the PNP government led by Cedric Stewart, and then after that the election was lost by them, and then we had Shane Dallin becoming the CEO of Caymanas Park Limited. So our problem at that time was basically we had to negotiate with the government, and everything was political. You had less policies those times, but most things were surrounded in terms of politics. If you want to compare that time with now, I was assuming and hoping that now that the track is privately owned, you would probably have a better negotiation in terms of the promotion. Because remember, you know have changes in the government no longer being the head of the promoting company, and therefore you might have more static. It's probably more static now than ever. I would have imagined and anticipated that under the present promoting company, the stakeholders, and in particular trainers as we're talking about now, would probably got more if we had better representation and more persons negotiating on behalf of trainers. During my time, the politics was tense, and a lot of extraction was coming from the track, and other people that had interest in terms of further promotion. I think that was probably the challenges that we faced during our time. We had government to deal with, and that was difficult because the government of the day represented what is happening in the country, and by extension, if the country wasn't doing good, quote unquote, it's just the scraps they would throw over to Caymanas Park at that time. I don't think the government during that time there had the truck as one of their best investment or the best interest at the time. And that is how I felt about my tenure as president. Yes, we achieved, and it was sometimes it was terrible in terms of the outcome. I remember having a strike, one of the things. I remember a lot of conflicts, and I had a good team that time, and hopefully somebody can step up and help the trainers now.
Well, there's a saying that a phrase that I keep saying on the Open Gate show, that the so-called elites in our society, they use this phrase, or they act on this phrase, saying, nobody will believe you over me. Why I mention that? The government ain't gonna listen to a Dale Murphy or a Colin Blair or say a Minnow. Mm-hmm. But their friends and their group who they have lunch with, who they chat with and everything, those are the people who relates to the government, or should. We have so many owners who are politicians, who are MPs, who are people who have company. How on earth can they relate with the government for them to see the reality that affects horse racing, a industry which, to me, stabilizes the country, especially in this pandemic time? What's your take on that there?
Well, you mentioned the government, but in all fairness to the government is not really operating track now. The government at least a track to a private entity, Supreme Ventures Risk and Entertainment Limited. The government is only regulating now. I think they might be. I think that sometimes they dabble too much into horse racing. It's a good thing that they left. So I think we should leave the government out of it now, which is only rightful, because the track has been leased to Supreme Venture Racing Entertainment Limited. So I guess we need to talk about Supreme now.
Well, yes, that is so true. But the point I'm trying to make is we keep on hearing the promoting company, and the Owners Association and even the Breeders Association, but I'm not sure about the Breeders Association.
Mm-hmm.
They want a tax break for a while, 2 or 3 years, so that horses, the high taxation on horses coming into the country. For, you know, the taxes that the government are earning off the importation of horses, it's not much. So why can't they give us a tax break to help boost the industry as a whole, so that we can have better horses running, the breeding industry can be buffered, and you know that's the point. That's what I was really talking about. They hold a hand on that.
Well, we have heard that in the past, the importation of horses was not handled as it's supposed to be. People were bringing in horses for purpose that they intended to, and was using it for that purpose, and things like that. And I guess that is what caused all of this mistrust in terms of importation of horses. Because you're bringing in horses for and you say you're going to do it for that purpose, and you don't end up there. You're bringing horses for broodmare, for breeding, and they end up on the track running. I'm not confident that taxation or removal of taxation on the importation of horses is the way. I think we should probably help our breeding industry. My view. We have good breeders here. So if we're bringing in horses for that purpose, that's where my take is.
Understand. Speaking about help, of a former leader, well, a former president of the trainers, what's your proposal, if you want to call it, or whatever, that you could offer to help the veterans? Because the veterans at Caymanas Park, they are holistically, they're in some tandem of trying to survive. What could you say to listeners?
The average age for trainers at the track, I'm certain, is over 50. I say that without reservation. I suspect there's about 175 trainers licensed or registered now. Most trainers unfortunately leave the sport a pauper. Most trainers die a pauper. That top 10 list that you see in the race books doesn't change in terms of earning. It's the same names, it's the same syndicates, it's the same owners. From my time here till now, there have been talk about pension scheme, but in all fairness again, we have a health insurance plan that does a little in terms of coverage. I mean, it has death benefits and but that's not all. I mean, if you die and you get a little money to bury you, you have family that you're going to leave behind, and you have dependents and other things. You see, the racing is one of those sports of passion. A trainer will don't eat. I take him last and just take care of the animals. And it's because of that love for horses, I think, that most trainers are still in the sport. And it's just the passion. It's just the passion that keeps people coming back here. And when you really love something that much, I guess you just die in it. What to do about the seniors? The most persons want to know that after years and years of service to an industry, there's something left back for them. And it can only be practically dealt with in terms of a pension scheme that I've been hearing about since I'm here. And if and when that come on board, that might be something that we could look into, because at least it gives people a push on. A pension scheme has many benefits. And many times you hear a person who's talking about it, but I don't see the difficulty with it, because we have a list here already. We have a list of trainers who have that coverage already, and we have the numbers, and we have the statistics. So I just don't know why it can't go through it. But definitely coverage means pension and it has some longevity with it.
The integral part of the status quo of Jamaica on health issue. A former and many-time champion trainer has, in recent days, has been hit with the COVID-19 virus, and it was very, very serious. And he wasn't the only one. You have two other trainers who had the COVID pandemic and had to be hospitalized. You recently experienced a situation that could simulate what happened or what is happening to that former champion trainer. Dale, I am happy that you're here where I can sit beside you, and you would know. And it's a pleasure because the Open Gate Show portrays to not only horse people, but we have other listeners viewing the show. And what you're about to say or to divulge on that experience, go ahead and tell us from the symptoms up to the time you were admitted and released.
Okay, great. This is a racehorse magazine show, and I'm quite certain that I'm speaking mainly to persons in the industry, racing industry in particular. And I like to endorse and ask persons to continue to do what government is asking me to do, and of course the Ministry of Health and Wellness, that you should always wear a mask, sanitize, and practice social distancing. There's no way around it. This is a pandemic, and it is a serious thing. I cannot elaborate what COVID really means using this medium. Personally now, I was tested positive on the 1st of March. And naturally, you all should know that when you test positive for COVID, you should automatically home quarantine. In other words, you cannot be spreading the virus and you're positive. So you must stay home. Okay, so while I was at home, day 7, I wasn't doing well. Fortunate for me, our daughter is a doctor who was checking up on me, and then on day 7 of my quarantine, my oxygen levels were low, and I had to be taken to the hospital, University Hospital of the West Indies. Really and truly, no praises are too high for my daughter, my wife, my sisters, who really who really helped me to be here to tell you all about what I experienced in a COVID ward. And then on the night of the 7th of March, I was admitted to UA, and that said night I was placed in isolation. And ladies and gentlemen listening, when you go on the ward, they test you for everything, including dengue, because I presented myself at UA with high fever, and they wanted to know that this I was tested for COVID and I was positive, yes, but they wanted to know if there was other issues that was happening while I was having the high fever. I was admitted on the Monday. I was removed to the ward, and the experience there was one which I can only describe as being buried alive. Cannot elaborate too much what happened in the hospital, but it is real. People were, when the government tell you that we have deaths, I actually saw bags yellow bags being zipped up with bodies going out of the hospital. COVID is real. People are dying. You need to stick to the protocols. When you come to the track in particular, you must not just pass security and put on the mask and then take it off. You need to wear it right through. You need to protect yourself and you need to protect others around you. I only spent 4 days into the hospital. I was diagnosed with COVID-19 pneumonia. And I'm so glad to be here, more than anything else. And I just wanted to tell everybody who's listening right now that COVID-19 is real.
Walk us through when, say, the moment you were admitted and you were isolated. Well, if you're isolated, you won't be seeing anything. But from what you see there, with those bags being with dead bodies, etc., tell us about what went through your mind at that moment, or those moments, I should say.
I had my phone, and people are calling me, for other reasons apart from even knowing that I was in the hospital. And when I got calls, I tell person that I was in the hospital, they couldn't even believe it, or they couldn't even relate. So I was in contact at all time with the outside world. That's what was happening. I kept on asking myself and telling myself that I need to get better, I need to get out. I think all of this must have been God's plan itself for me to go into the hospital, witness firsthand what was happening inside there, and to come back outside there and tell people. A lot of people didn't make it. A lot of people are asking other questions. A lot of people don't even believe that you can just go into the hospital like that and then just come out just like that. A lot of person didn't make it.
Well, yesterday, March 19, 18 rather, makes 6 years since both hospitals, Kingston Public Hospitals and the University of the West Indies, claimed that I only had a few weeks to live due to the cancer that I have. Immediately knowing that, when I was told, it was an experience for a few minutes that I can't portray to our listeners or to anyone, but I can understand what you're going through. And presently, the former champion trainer, his family, this thing, I just can't understand why people take this COVID-19 pandemic something that is something that is, like it's nothing, like it's a cold or a flu. It's really sad. A lot of pressure on the family. But there, the peak of your COVID experience at the hospital, did it run through your mind that maybe you don't make it or what? Tell us on that.
So like I was carrying you through the stages, I was tested positive the 1st of March. And just to let you know, today is the 19th, and I was tested negative on the 17th. So everybody knows that I have COVID, and I can use this medium and tell everybody that I have COVID. It's not something to be ashamed of, right? So to really come back at the track, I had to inform the surgeon, and I had to inform the racing secretary, so that I can get clearance.
Well,
some of the worst time at the hospital was really hearing people around you crying, screaming, begging for help. One of the privilege that I had at the hospital was I could get up and walk and go to the bathroom. Because a lot of patients were actually bedridden. and hooked up to the ventilator or other machine that they couldn't move. And I found out that going to the bathroom itself and holding a shower was the most peaceful thing, or the most peaceful place to be on the world at that time, because nobody was in the bathroom and it was less noisy. And sometimes you couldn't hold back tears because you felt like you were in prison and you wanted to come out as quick as possible. And somehow I made it, and I think I like my oxygen. You know?
Well, surely we hope that everyone with the pandemic that contacted the COVID virus will recover.
Yes.
But on the flip side of that, we need our society not to listen to the rhetorics and all those things that COVID is fake and it's this and it's that. It's amazing. You always have people that are saying the opposite of what reality is. But this thing is very serious. We all know that. So why can't we adhere to the health protocols to make our society safe and to get our kids going back to school and get our business places being reopened so that jobs can be had and the circulation of money can be. If we continue like this, in another 3-4 months, there will be financial pressure on everyone. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to have more crime, etc., etc. It's up to us. Is there anything else you would like to divulge on your experience with the COVID pandemic or anything else there?
I certainly enjoy being a racehorse trainer. I can't take anything away from that. This is a horse racing magazine show. We come here this morning and we put in some work, and we want to tell you that it's a pleasure when we come here this early. We put in the work and we get some results. The feeling you get when you have a horse and you can get that horse to even perform, to make you feel joyous and to make you feel rewarded. It's a feeling that you have to come to here to feel. And I will continue to come to the track and spend time with the animals, the thoroughbreds. Outside of that, we still want to tell you that racing is still alive and well. Racing is the king of sport, and I really need to advocate and promote racing. I wish the present stakeholder group heads would have negotiated and get something out of Supreme Venture than what they are giving us now for trainers in particular. Because I know that's what your interest is more right in terms of speaking to me as a racehorse trainer. Supreme Venture, like any other business, is trying to give us the best of what they have. But I still think more can be done. What you see now is just things that the previous governments had planned and didn't do. So they're just picking up some scraps, I call it. Yes, we have some roads now and we have some stables building, and the product is being promoted and the product is being aired to the diaspora and all that is happening. But even in the pandemic, we keep our fingers crossed that the track can still remain open and we can still have livelihood down here. Because you see, racing is unique, Racing is the only industry that operates as it is in Jamaica right now. Nobody can show me no other industry or organization in Jamaica that operate like how racing is operating right now. You see what I'm trying to say here is that the most important ingredient that we have down here is actually the manpower, the human resources, the trainers, the jockeys, the groom, the owners, the stable lads, all of these persons who behind the scene help to put on the show together. You know? So we're talking about what I call human investment. Right? Don't leave off the horses, of course, you know? Don't leave off the horses. And all of that behind the scene things that you see at the TV come Saturday, come Sunday is what keeps racing alive now. And if more is done to the human resources at the track, I'd be a happier person. More can be done, you know, see, because we still have dilapidated building down here, and I don't want to go into any things that are not supposed to diverge into, but things hasn't changed much, you know. Yes, we have changes, but the day that Supreme Venture took over the track was the day that we thought that we'd have glory days. But trust me, they're coming. If we even have any glory days now, they're coming very slow, and they're coming very far apart. And I would love to see the racing industry improve more rapidly than what is happening now. We're just getting chips. Chips. You know? And that is my take. You know, you have to look after the people down here. You have to look after the people down here, the people who make the show, the people who put on the show. You know? Yes, you need a promoter because we have to earn. After all the days work down here in the morning, and you come race day, you want to know that there's a purse that you're running for, and there's the potential to earn. But the human resources, the people behind the scene, they need to be taken care of. Right? And I wish more interest would be placed where that is concerned. And to come down there and make trainers have better working conditions, man. I mean, so slow. It's terrible. You know? And we're going through this thing from long time now. And I don't want to put pandemic, and I don't want to put governments and those other parameters into play. But you know, the powers that be need to do more.
Well, surely there is more to be done. Yes. And what can we do? But
representation.
Well, that is one part of it. But you know, the Open Gate Show, of course, their intention is to portray through the racing fraternity what racing is all about in Jamaica. And of course, you know, I'm grateful to Dale Murphy, former president of the original United Racehorse Trainers Association, former student of the great, well, I would say the greatest school in the Caribbean, or maybe the world, Jamaica College. And you know, it's a pleasure having you, Dale, and we hope that what you portray on the COVID-19 pandemic, we hope that most, or if not all, get a grasp of this danger, this invisible evil that is going around. And we are, well, some are neglecting the reality of the effects of this pandemic. Thank you very much, Dale.
Thank you for inviting me to your top show.
Okay. That was Trainer Dale Murphy on the Open Gate Show. Surely there will be other shows. Join Facebook and YouTube, Open Gate Show. Subscribe. That way you'll get notifications on what is happening in Jamaica horse racing industry. Thank you all for listening, and to those people all over the globe, especially those who have recently joined. I really appreciate your interest. And please tell your friends about the Open Gate Show. Take care. Have a good day.
Check out KD's Vehicle Headlamp and Restoration. Our headlamps are fine sanded, buffed, and 9H coated with a 2-year guarantee. Price starting at $4,500. Internal restoration and modification starts at $8,000. To make an appointment today, call us at 876-824-6186.